All right, please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
4968.
I'm sorry, you have to repeat that. I didn't hear you.
Barry Pascual, 390968.
All right, Barry, my name is Brennan Kelsey. Along with me is Mr. Marabella and Mr. Freeman will be your parole panel. We'll ask some questions. You can respond. At the end, you can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
And we'll have, I think we'll have 3 folks will speak on behalf, and then we'll have some speakers against. I'll read out the names. We have Mr. Randy Meyer here, William Scarito, Catherine Sapora, Andrell Maddox, Andrew Hunley, Kenneth Schmedier, Alicia Poche, Alexandra Cates, Carrie Myers, Jennifer Stegmeyer, Bethany Saunier, Morgan Walker, Amanda Grove, Laura Lyons, Natalie Sheremy, Jane Sisaby, Jennifer Cameron, Jill Falgu, Toy Rue Montgomery, Baron DeHart, Joshua Pascal, Brad Roberts, and Angela Canty, Damian Riley, Braden Pascal, Erica Bloom, Dr. Kristen Altine Morris, Melvina Jones. Thank you guys for being here. All right. Barry Pascal, DOC number 390968. You're a first class offender. Parole eligibility date 1/6/2022. No good time, life, full term, first degree murder. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you answer, Mr. Freeman, please?
Okay, Mr. Pascual, how old are you?
44, sir.
And how long have you spent in jail?
27 years.
Okay, and what's your level of education?
I got my GED.
Okay. First, Mr. Pascual, I'm gonna give you a statement from one of the witnesses, and then I want to hear your statement. According to one of the witnesses, Michael Mitchell, they were riding around and they saw some guys in a Camaro and they wanted to race them. So they were revving their engine and blinking their lights, wanting to race. And then somebody from your car pulled the gun. They stopped, turned around, and went to Michael's house where the passenger shot Mr. Squatrito. I know I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that's who was shot. So what is not your story, but what is your statement? What do you say happened that night?
That night, me and my friend Derek was coming from a girlfriend's house, and we pulled up at an intersection. It was dark. We had a gun in the car. Our car on the left kind of flipped their brights on. So we kept going in the intersection and took a left, and they turned around and started following us, flipping their brights, kind of tailgating us. We really didn't know who it was. We had some problems with a guy earlier and thought it maybe was him, or somebody was trying to rob us. So we took a right down the street and we stopped, and they stopped behind us. I held the gun out the car, hoping I could scare them, or for them to drive away. But when they put the car in reverse, I guess when they seen the gun, my friend Derek, he turned the car around and said, "Man, give me the gun." And I handed him the gun, and we chased him. We pursued him down the street while they was in reverse and we was going forward. And when we stopped, they was in front of us, we was in front of them, and as they pulled into the yard, Derek shot out the window. Later did I learn that Brett was killed. You know, a night that I won't forget and regret for the rest of my life.
Okay, so you're saying that your friend was the one that did the shooting? He had the gun?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were drugs involved?
No,
Y'all
sir.
doing drugs that night? Have you ever done drugs?
No, sir. Drugs didn't play a part in me being involved in committing this crime. When I was 13 or 14, yeah, I tried alcohol and marijuana, but drugs didn't play a part of me committing this.
All right, so what do you think your role was in the crime? I mean, you pointed the gun first. I mean, tell me the truth. Did you,
Yeah, my
were
role.
you saying, let's follow them, or were you saying, let's turn around, it's it's over with?
Well, I ain't downplaying my role. I handed Derek the gun. That makes me just as guilty and responsible as him, sir.
Correct. If you could say something to the family, what would you say? What do you think your actions has done to this family and to your family?
I know what I say, sir. Won't be enough. And I'm not here to justify or make any excuse, for the horrible decision I made that night. I'm here to hold myself accountable and apologize for the pain and suffering I caused Brett's family. This should have never happened. I'm
Doug?
ashamed. I'm ashamed. I'm sad, and I've always been bothered by my actions, sir. It
Okay.
weighs on my heart, even today. Knowing I'm responsible for Brett's death. I also feel guilty, knowing I affected his family so painfully. I just want to say that, from the bottom of my heart, I'm truly sorry for what I did.
Okay. In 12/15 of 96, I see a armed robbery was dismissed. What happened in that event?
No doubt. I didn't have nothing to do with that, sir.
Okay. And did you attempt to escape at one time?
That happened right before trial. Really, my friend was trying to escape, and he got busted, so I beat the dude up who told on him. So they gave me an escape charge too.
Taking tons of classes. What class did you get the most out of?
Definitely victim awareness. Victim awareness helped me, understand myself and the consequences of my actions. Plus the harm I've caused others. In victim awareness, I realized that I harbor feelings towards my co-defendant, blaming him for me being here. And it was just really me being in denial and not taking responsibility for my own behavior. Victim awareness helped me with that. I also learned the magnitude of the pain I've caused and the impact on my actions, not just from Brett's family, but from my family and my community as well. I always felt really bad about what I did, sir. Brett's life mattered, and I had no right to take it from him. Also,
Okay.
this,
I'm
sir.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, also, I want to say this program, gave me an avenue to write an accountability letter. Accepting responsibility for my role and, expressing my remorse. Something that I needed to do and something I owe Brett's family. So, victim awareness was most beneficial to me.
Okay. Where you plan to live? Where you plan to work if you get out?
My reentry plan is successful. You know, I'm going to the Parole project. I've been accepted over there, where they'll help me transition back into society. After finishing the programs there, you know, I plan to resign in Terrebonne Parish with my fiance Alicia. She has a home there for us. There, I do have a few job offers doing electrical. Some I've, you know, acquired here, a skill here. Also, you know, if successful, I plan to, you know, keep speaking to the confirmation retreats that used to come here, the churches as well. You know, the church that used to come there and go, that has since accepted me. And I do want to, you know, find some kind of AA or, you know, therapy place where I could go and, you know, share my testimony, you know, give feedbacks on everybody else.
You a certified electrician?
Yes, sir. And see y'all, electrical level 1, level 2.
Your minimum custody, your risk is low. You have a good institutional record. You have 12 disciplinary reports. The last one was in 3/14. I think for aggravated disobedience. Do you recall that write-up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what happened? You just didn't follow an order?
No, sir. I was getting my hair cut in the bathroom. Something that, you know, we shouldn't do.
All right, also, you had a contraband write-up at one time. It was a long time ago, but what was that about?
What year was it, sir?
I'm not sure. I didn't put the year down. Do you have the year, Warden Falgout?
I'm looking right now, sir. Give me a sec. Looks like 09.
09. 2009. I was in the cell block and I got caught with a shaving razor, a Gillette razor. You know, they was shaving with clippers. I couldn't use the clippers. So I had a Gillette razor in the cell.
Okay, I will have to mention that you have a ton of letters of support from Warden Kane, from people that have been your boss, also from the governor. Tell me about some of the community service you've done during catastrophes and other things you've done to help out. I see where they must trust you because they let you off the prison grounds quite often.
Yes, sir. So right now I'm vice president of Dale Carnegie, where we help, you know, teach young guys how to express themselves, you know, get out of stage fright. Another is after work, I volunteer my time in, you know, the toy shop where we make, you know, toys for kids, for unprivileged kids, you know, like I once was, you know, for Christmas. You know, my job, helping out during the pandemic. You know, I was on a 24-hour stick out when the whole, you know, prison was locked down. I volunteered, you know, through the storms, anytime they have a power outages, off the farm, anytime they ask me to go to, you know, any place where it needs electrical, I'm the first one to go. You know, that's
Hey, yeah, that's good. I That's all the questions I have.
Okay, great.
Chairman.
Ward, do you have any other input for us?
Yes, sir, just to reinforce what Mr. Freeman was talking about, Barry has been off the grounds on several, projects that we've been, part of, from going to New Orleans, going all over the state. He's been a very trusted, inmate for us. He's done a good job. He's been in the electric shop for, say, last 12, 15 years. He's done well for us.
Thank you, sir. I will hear from Mr. Andrew Hunley.
Andrew Hunley with Louisiana Parole Project, appearing before the board today to confirm that Barry is a client of our program. Just to remind the board how we got here, Barry was 16 years old at the time of his offense. Thus the Miller and Montgomery U.S. Supreme Court decisions and Act 277 of the 2017 legislative session have allowed him this opportunity for consideration for parole. As this board is aware, our organization has done the reentry for almost all of the juvenile lifers who have been released to date through the parole board and through sentencing reviews. There have been about 100 juvenile lifers released since those decisions. And I would remind the board that the recidivism rate among juvenile lifers is among the best when compared against any other group. But specific to Barry, when we look at his record, there's often talk about who's worst of the worst among juvenile lifers. It is our opinion that Barry is among the best of the best when we consider that he has taken all of the rehabilitative programming that's available at Angola, in addition to acquiring trades in carpentry and electrical, and just I'm certain anyone at Angola will tell you he is a highly skilled electrician. So as we consider, his future employment opportunities, we're certain he will have no problem maintaining employment in the field that he's very good at. Throughout our work with Barry, he's always taken responsibility for his offense and has explicitly talked about his desire to be involved in community service whenever he's released. We have a very strong feeling as far as when we compared Barry to the other juvenile lifers who've come through our program. He will be among those who are most ready to move forward, but he still will have the opportunity to complete our program. And if he's granted by this board, we look forward to immediately having him as a part of our program, and he will complete all the requirements that we would have for any other client, which includes access to mental health and substance abuse assessment and a minimum of 1 year case management from our staff, even after he completes our residential program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we'll hear from Ms. Joshua Pascual. Yes, sir. You just face us. And I know we got a poll in the way, but you move around the poll.
Morning. Joshua Pascual is married to BJ. Youngest brother, 4 years younger. Wife for 14 years, and career on the railroad for the last 10 years. Got 4 boys. Growing up, my child was definitely different than most childhoods. Mom, she did her best. She was disabled. She couldn't see. She didn't. So she didn't work. She never knew that. I never saw her out. She had an addiction to pain. She got to pain. So she was more, like I said, she was more of a friend, a best friend. She never really listened. So we had no repercussions for her actions. My dad, he did his best also. He was a painter. He liked his alcohol. We didn't see him much. We would see him occasionally. Most of the times he would say, "Yeah, stuff." He wasn't going to really give us that discipline that that we needed. Especially as he year, 12-year-old, 16-year-old. He just wasn't there. Growing up, BJ was a good brother. He was a good person. And I know that good person is still in there. He made poor choices. Very poor choices. But what young person would, they don't have somebody to teach them right from wrong about their own choices. Got to figure it all out ourselves. And hung around with the wrong crowd. Basically, he latched on to something outside of family that he called his own. His first thing. Fortunately, he was just a one that made the wrong decisions. I know for sure that he'll definitely not take his freedom for granted. And me and my family be there for him emotionally, financially, spiritually. And Alicia, she definitely be there for him. She was every Sunday religiously. So I'm glad that she's in his life. Because I believe once he gets out and he's established his career, something moves. But I know for sure that he will not change. I believe that he will not go back to the way he was. That he learned his lesson, which was 7 years ago. I want my brother to experience the life that I have, and that was poor choices. So I'm just here seeking a chance to get this.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your comment. All right, now we'll hear from Mr. Williams Fervito.
This morning,
Doing fine.
just want to thank you guys for having us here. Part of this, of course, part of the loss. Also, that wasn't something I added without you. Let them know I'm sorry for their family suffering every day. I just want to make a few things clear. This day, me and my family, we thought would never come. We thought a little over 26 years ago, this was over with. Here we are today. My family and I was put through hell when my brother was murdered by Pascual Jr. Refreshing the committee on what had happened today. My brother was supposed to work with me this particular day, but we didn't work without him. So he decided to work on the vehicle. Okay. And then Mike Mitchell worked on the car. When he got the car running, they took it for a little test drive. And they got to a four-way stop sign. They noticed a white Camaro pulled up on the side of it. At that time, my brother looked over at them and revved up his motor. He thought they were trying to race him. So at that point, they pointed a gun out the window at him. That's what happened. At that time, my brother took off and they chased him down, up and down the streets of East Loyola, East Louisiana, Old Miss Drive, which is a one-way street. They could have turned off at any given time. My brother was trying to get away from the man pointing the gun. When my brother pulled up into the front yard of Mike Mitchell's home, where his mother lives, they jumped out of the car to run in the house. And as they were running to the house, Barry Pascal sat up in the passenger window of the car. When they pulled in front of the house, he fired over the top of the car, shooting my brother in the back. This is all in the report. That's exactly what happened. Let's see. hitting my brother in the back, and killing him instantly. I'll never forget seeing him like. After looking back, when Barry's passed, from what we understand, they would not bring up his juvenile record. They would not open this time to be in trial with his daughter. But we were told that he had shot a woman or a girl in a drive-by shooting several years before, had been incarcerated in juvenile prison. This girl was in a wheelchair today, from what we understand. This was never brought up during the adult case because they could not open the file. But here we are today, reverting back to juvenile. We found out later that that Barry and Derek had just done a drive-by shooting earlier in the day before meeting up with my brother at the stop sign. This is how this occurred. My brother had nothing to do with anything at all. The prosecuting attorney at the time, I believe his name was Quentin Kelly. At that time, he wanted the death penalty because the first degree murder. After going to court for so long, and the case, my family has not been able to take it anymore. My mother was elderly, like couldn't take it anymore. So they came to us and they said, what about if we go to the family and the attorney to see if we can remove the death penalty, and they would write off on life in prison with no parole, period. So that was the deal that was made then. We paid with that at that point. We said, okay, as long as I'll never be released, that would be sufficient. Okay. Derek was only a few months shy of 18 years old when this happened. Derek was 18. That's why he's not here. He's not dealing with this. He should not be eligible for release under this new law. So he has shot 2 people, killed 1 in a drive-by shooting. Heard. We understand he has been a model prisoner, done many classes, and with great trustee. That does not equal anything close to the person who deserves a second chance. My brother didn't get a second chance. Unfortunately, we have an uncle that had murdered someone back in the 70s. He was granted parole by Governor Eddy. He got out and he did the same damn thing again. He's back in Angola again today. I don't know if he's dead or not. This happened to me. Does this have to happen to another family before this stops? At this time, there would not be the juvenile stuff. We did not want him released. Please state in the severity of this crime, not to give him parole at this time. My brother's son, my brother had a son, never grew up with his father. The son was, I think, 6 months old at this time. He also had a fiance that was left to raise him on her own. There isn't a day that goes by that my brother is not missed. Barry's family at least still gets to visit him, talk to him. And now they want more. No more deals. We made a deal in the beginning, we do not want to make a deal now. We know the state has changed a lot, but back then they accepted it, they need to accept it today. I was the oldest of 6. Mother always worried about me. I was always the one who was in trouble. My brother was the innocent. He never did nothing. Never did she think she'd have to bury a baby boy. She cried every day until she passed away. I had a sister who was very close to my brother. She committed suicide several months afterwards because she just couldn't take it. It has been tough for all of us. Let's not make it any worse. We asked for no parole, no more deals.
All right, yes, sir.
This is the last.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
I wrote this last night at midnight. I woke up, could not sleep. I had to write it.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've been working with people like this for 13 years. I work with people for a self-help group and at hospitals and institutions. I've been invited to speak in Angola several times to try to help individuals. People like this live in fear. When they don't get what they want or feel disrespected, they make bad decisions. That's not a brother's fault. I've spoken with guys like this, and they will say or do anything to gain the trust and get out of prison. His past speaks for itself. I don't care what he's done lately. Please don't let the misjustice of the Louisiana judicial system be the reason he is released into society. You have the power to say no today. You can polish him up, but it's what's on the inside that you can't see. He has proven 3 times he will shoot innocent bystanders. He shot at 3 different homes, hitting 2 people. What is it going to take for this to stop? Who will be next? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comment. We're here for Mr. Randy Meyer now.
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. We're opposed to the request of parole. Mr. Pascual had a pretty extensive, in a short period of time, extensive juvenile record. His first arrest was at 13, first firearm arrest was at 14 and almost 15 when he was convicted in juvenile court of assault by drive-by shooting. Obviously, there's very strong victim opposition in this matter. You know, I've always said and feel strongly that the first thing that someone has to do in order to truly rehabilitate himself is accept what he's done. Mr. Pascual has said today that he was not the shooter in this case. I'm going to read a couple of excerpts from the Court of Appeal, State Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal opinion in this case. Says the sole issue raised on appeal regarding the sufficiency of the evidence is whether the state proved that the defendant was the person who fired the gun that killed the victim. The court goes on shortly after the shooting. Mitchell, who was the passenger in the victim's vehicle, told the detectives that the passenger in the Camaro fired the shots. Defendant, Mr. Pascual, admitted that he was the passenger in the Camaro. And it goes on, the reliability of Mitchell's identification of defendant as the passenger and the shooter were established by the evidence that was presented. And the court goes on and discusses briefly some other circumstantial evidence that corroborated Mitchell's testimony that the defendant, the passenger in the Camaro, was the person who fired the shots. Mr. Pascual again has gives us a different story. The evidence is opposite from what Mr. Pascual's story is. For those reasons, we are opposed to his request for parole.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Pascual, would you like to make a statement on behalf? And then Mr. Kenneth, you can wrap up at the end. Would you prefer to do that?
No, thank you. I would defer until the end, although I note that one of Barry Pascual's additional supporters, Alicia Poche, has not yet had an opportunity to speak.
Okay, well, she wasn't on the list to speak. Where is she? You can make a brief statement.
Please excuse the fact that I had to type this. I knew I was going to be nervous and a little emotional. My name is Alicia Poche, and I am Barry Pascual's fiance. We've been together for 8 years. I have worked for the same oil field company for 22 years in the credit and collections department and I'm now the manager of that department. Barry has always been kind and loving, gentle and giving, supportive and encouraging. He offers practical and logical advice on anything I bring to him. We discuss everything from non-serious to serious and everything in between. We are truly a team, and I can honestly say he has brought more joy, laughter, calm, and meaning to my life, and I'm a better version of myself. Nothing said in this hearing today regarding Barry was a surprise or new to me because he has always been truthful about his entire juvenile history and beyond. Barry and I have had deep conversations many times about the night of the crime, and he has always expressed his deep remorse and regret about that time. He knows he cannot undo what was done and his role in that, but he tries every day to make up for his actions by being a better person than he was the day before. Barry's very compassionate towards his peers inside of Angola. I am often sought out after guys are released so they can keep in touch to see how Barry is doing and if he needs anything. These guys tell me how Barry impacted them in one way or another. The stories range from him giving toiletries, food, clothing, etc. if they didn't have anything. Others tell me how Barry gave them a listening ear or some guidance on an issue they were having. Others talk about the times they played on a sports team together and he led them, or their time together in different programs. Each story always shows me what a beautiful heart Barry has. At visits or during rodeo time, I am often told by guards within Angola what a good guy Barry is and how helpful he is to them all. They talk to me about his work, his hobbies, and his good attitude. I'm told of his ability to troubleshoot electrical issues that others weren't able to figure out, his willingness to see projects through to the best of his ability, and how it will help anyone on Beeline or within the prison with any needs they have. I'm told how they love the different crafts he makes for the rodeo and how he'll even make wooden toys for their children. You already know about his transition and residency plan, but I would like to express that I fully support him going to parole project and encourage him to stay as long as he wants or is determined that he needs to be there. I have a home in Houma in a quiet and safe neighborhood waiting for him to come to when he is ready. I am able to provide for him while he gets on his feet and begins to work. He has already had multiple job offers in Houma, and I also support him furthering his education and training in the electrical field as that is a passion of his. Barry has a huge support network in Houma. My family and Barry have a great relationship and they welcome him into our family. I have many amazing friends and coworkers that are also ready and willing to be there for Barry. And the couple I rent from all know about Barry's story. And they have also welcomed us living in their home and welcomed us into their church. Barry has a good support system with his family. And in fact, Barry has worked hard on bettering his relationship with his mother over the 27 years he's been here. Sadly, his mother and sister weren't able to be here because his mother is on hospice in her last days. And she wasn't even expected to make it this far. So we are thankful she is able to be listening to this. If Barry would need any help during this transition, we have many resources and people we can reach out to for guidance. My company has a program that would provide counseling. We can reach back out to Parole Project at any time. Our families and friends will be here to give any guidance or assistance to Barry. And in my opinion, one of the best resources would be the other formerly incarcerated men, especially juveniles that Barry has forged relationship with that have been successful in their transition. I thank you for looking at who Barry is today and not holding all of his past against him. Barry is truly remorseful and holds himself accountable for everything that has happened. And we appreciate you considering his release. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Barry, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, sir. I know that was the facts that I was convicted of, but I wanted to tell the truth about what happened. I said, victim awareness, my co-defendant made an accountability letter telling the truth about what he really did. Like I said earlier, that I'm not trying to downplay my actions. I handed Derek the gun, so I'm just as guilty and responsible he is. I want to say that, I'm not that same 16, 14, 15-year-old kid, that was doing all the senseless crimes. You know, I stand before you today as a man, you know, that can make sound decisions. I know my past is unacceptable, but I'm first to admit I'm not proud of nothing I did as a kid. Programs like victim awareness, anger management, you know, thinking for a change, allow me to take responsibility and own up, you know, to the flaws in my character before coming to prison. You know, life skills I learned here, you know, help my behavior from reoccurring, something I'm thankful for. And I just asked the board, you know, to give me a second chance at life so I could show that I could be a productive, hardworking, law-abiding citizen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And we'll wrap up Mr. Schmetterer.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. My name is Ken Schmetterer, and I am proud to speak on behalf of Barry Pascual and ask that he be released on parole. Our written submission, no matter how many letters of support, job offers, programming, certifications, or volunteer work, cannot possibly convey the true measure of the man that Barry has become. Thoughtful, reflective, humble, and intensely dedicated to improve himself and to help others grow and learn from his mistakes, benefiting the entire prison community and others for 27 years. You've seen the context of his early years: father who drank, was violent to his mother and others, and largely absent. His mother legally blind and addicted to prescription drugs. Chronic instability, including 4 schools, just as one example, between 6th and 8th grade, 4 schools alone before being expelled in the 8th grade. So a 13-year-old Barry looked for a connection and found it with older kids, including 18-year-olds with guns. I recognize the horror and I honor the expressions of pain and anguish suffered by the family and expressed by the family and friends of the victim, Brett Squattrito. I do, Mr. Freeman, you did ask about the events of that day, and questions have been raised about who the shooter was, and I'd like to address that for a moment and start by saying, and I'll come back to this, for purposes of both Barry's moral culpability, as in the eyes of the law, as in what you are asked to consider today, it doesn't matter because he is equally culpable and he knows that. But for context, and I hope you saw, we noticed that a couple pages in our tab 2 were missing, and on Monday that was submitted. That was Derek Sanier's a letter in which he acknowledged his role, his actual role. Now, I want to speak to this as well because, and I'll just add a couple of points. Again, I don't begrudge Brett's family members for expressing anything that they expressed. I understand everything that they're feeling. I will just add, first of all, you don't know me, but I do not suborn perjury. But if I did, probably the easiest thing to say to make this clean and easy would be to say, oh, just say you were the shooter, because you know that's just the easiest, cleanest thing to do. But Barry is always going to err on the side of just telling what happened. As by the way, and now there are 2 people, Derek Sanier as well. Regardless, Barry handed the gun over, and he is he is morally, as in the eyes of the law, as responsible for Brett's tragic killing as the shooter. Barry knows he cannot change the past, but he knew he must do what he could to commit to become something better and to help support something better in others. When he arrived in prison, Barry was exposed to something new for him at least, structure and institutional support. And he showed what he could do with the structure that he did not have at home. And once he started down this path of self-improvement, he never stopped. And I want to pause for a moment to say, this journey began before, when there was no chance under the law to be released. This was not a strategic game. This was before the United States Supreme Court changed the law. This is who Barry was, and this is who he became years before that was even a remote possibility under the law. So briefly, at age 19, with just a 7th grade education, Barry, I think he understated his education and accomplishments, frankly. He began working towards his GED while working in the mattress factory. He got it in 2000, then a diploma in carpentry. Then following his work on electrical components of HVAC systems, he took an interest in electrical work and received multiple certifications. Now serving as the lead lineman, maintaining and repairing the high voltage power distribution system for Angola. As you recognized, awarded Class A trustee status in 2011, never revoked, counted on routinely to work off prison grounds with minimal supervision throughout the state, including at the governor's mansion, I believe 15 times, I think I saw on the record. During COVID, one of just 4 people from the maintenance shop trusted to live outside the fence as an essential worker, relatively unsupervised. You noted a letter from Governor Edwards praising Barry's team-oriented dedication and hard work. His former supervisor, Mark Spillman, called him one of the most reliable and multi-skilled workers they have. Many letters in our tab 6 stating attesting to his work ethic, reliability, manners, and attitude. Retired, and more broadly, retired former Assistant Warden John Tubbs wrote that he believes Barry will, quote, be able to live a successful life outside of prison as a productive and useful member of society, as he has shown tremendous growth. You're familiar with the programming, developing attributes such as victim awareness, thinking for change, parenting skills, anger management, cognitive coping, substance abuse. By the way, Barry was not required to take substance abuse class. That was not part of any sentence, but he knows the effect that addiction had on his mother and his father, and he understands the struggles that could be out there. And so even though he didn't have to take it, even though that was not a major part of his life since he was 14 years old, he would be proactive, and he still will always be proactive, and many more, as you see in tab 10 and tab 7.
Go ahead and wrap it up, counsel.
Yes, sir. And volunteer and disciplinary history and a strong reentry plan. One of the great luxuries of taking on a pro bono case is being able to selectively work with people who occasionally come into our lives and inspire us the most. And Barry Pascual has inspired me to no end. It is not for me to say what is the right punishment, how many years Barry should be in prison for his crime, but I know that he has dedicated the last 27 years to bettering himself and those around him. That fact has been roundly recognized by those who see Barry day in and day out. Those who know him best know what an incredible source of love, support, and enrichment he has been and will always be for others. If Barry is released, he will make you proud, as he has made me proud. Please, please give him that chance.
All right, thank you. All right, it's time to prepare to vote.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Freeman.
This is a very, very, very difficult case. Nothing is gonna bring his brother back. And his brother's life was cut extremely short. I mean, you took him away at a young age. Our responsibility is to look at what you did and then also turn around and look at what you've become. There's no way I can put myself in your shoes. No way. Impossible. I've never had nothing like this happen to my family. I'm sure at first I would be tremendously angry. And I want to thank everyone that came today to speak. You know, you could tell it was from the heart. You could tell just how much each side cares for their loved ones. But unfortunately, it's my choice to make a decision in here. And I think you've done everything you can in prison, Barry. So I'm gonna order you to the parole project to get a substance abuse evaluation, follow all recommendations, and I want you speaking to at-risk youth. The only thing you can ever do to honor the man that's gone today would be to stop another kid from doing what you're doing. And we have tons of them out there. And I challenge Mr. Hundley to find places for him to speak to these youth. I know we try to gather them up, because guns have just become unbelievably rampant in Baton Rouge. So that is my vote for today. That's my vote.
Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank all of the people who have been here today. We have heard you. We've heard you deeply. I've been in the criminal justice system for 50 years. I was a prosecutor, I was a defense lawyer, I was a judge, and our system isn't perfect, but it's the best system in the world. And it changes, it breathes. The legislature makes different laws, the courts determine and rule differently in over certain laws. You were promised something back then. That this man would spend the rest of his natural life in prison. When you were promised that, they meant it. The law has changed since. Our responsibility, as Mr. Freeman has pointed out, is to make a decision. And it does include as a factor the facts of the crime and what the facts of the crime are. But it also puts the responsibility of this board to determine who and what he's become today. And as difficult as this case is, he has done everything that's been asked of him in prison. I believe that my vote of conscience has to be under the law to vote to grant with the same conditions as outlined.
We have two votes to grant your parole today. Again, I'll just repeat is thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here. It's just a difficult case. There's, we've been doing this a long time, and when we leave here, it's tough. It's tough. But again, for the work you've done, for the institutional record, warden comments, my vote is to grant your parole today as well to the parole project. You'll have a substance abuse evaluation and follow-up. You'll have 6 hours per month community service to speak at-risk youth. And that's my vote for today. You have 3 votes to grant. Today your parole's been granted. Good luck to you.